Hello. Quick little update to a little, I guess, appendation to the end of the last video. Well, it's to the end of the video, but whatever. Anyways, my power supply came. And yeah, no more using that 400 watt one that I was using just for testing purposes. The only reason I was using it is just because, well, I didn't really have anything else and I wanted to test it. But now I actually have a proper power supply for a gaming computer because 400 watts is just not really that much. More importantly, it only has one. The connections are really poor. It only has one 4-pin EPS power cable for the CPU, which is fine for most older motherboards, but a lot of newer motherboards require the full 8-pin. Also, it only has one 6-pin PCI Express power, which is just, yeah, good luck getting any decent card nowadays that doesn't require at least two 6 to 8 pins. But whatever. This, however, is a proper gaming power supply. We got a 750 watt bronze, 80 plus bronze power supply. And yeah, I bought it on Best Buy and it's open box. So it's in excellent condition. Has the comment of no damage. So yeah, when I bought it off Best Buy, when I was looking at it and comparing the power supplies on Best Buy, I saw, oh, look at that. I can save like, I think it was like $14 to get it effectively new, but just without the cellophane wrapping on top. And I figured that was worth the price. Yeah, I figured it was worth the savings was worth the possible tiny risk that it wasn't really going to work out in some way, that it was damaged or whatever. The only reason I was so confident that it wouldn't be is because Best Buy apparently tested it and made sure it all works and has all of its stuff with it and all that other stuff. It's just basically the stuff in the excellent category apparently is just stuff that someone got, took home, opened up, and then for whatever reason took back. Probably they didn't need it anymore or something like that. So we open it up and we have these two holes on the top of this cardboard box thing on the inside. And I guess we just lift that out. And we kind of just use our legs to pinch away the box. Drop that on the floor where everything else goes. I need to clean up this office of mine. It's grotesque. And yeah, I guess this is the top. Looks perfectly fine on the inside. But I mean, I guess it is an excellent quality, so yeah, whatever I really expect. They do have other ones. Scan for quick guide. They do have other ones, but they had ones like fair condition. And then they had ones in like literally just called poor condition. Yeah. Yeah. So like poor condition, and yeah, this one was about $14 off or something like that. It's usually like 90 and I got it for like 71. So whatever that math comes out to be. But like then they had ones like just labeled in poor condition and they were like 50 or something, but it's not really worth it, I think. Too risky. I'm surprised that Best Buy even sells something like that. But whatever. Here's our little quick start guide. Something I find interesting about these things, they're always really old-fashioned in terms of their pictograms. Like, take for instance this picture here. Plug your SATA into your hard disk. Sure, if you say so. Who uses a hard disk these days? Well, I mean, I do, but I guess I'm a bit of a hipster. And then look at this. Connect your Molex to a fan. Yeah, sure. Whatever you say, bro. Molex. Definitely want to use the Molex connector. And here we have our little power supply screws that come with these types of things. I'm not even going to remove that because I have plenty. Every case comes with them. Well, I might. We'll see. Anyways, here are the internals. Wait. Okay, yeah. Here's the power cord. Always nice to have. It's a bit of a shame though in some ways because I have like probably 50 because everything you buy comes with a power cord and I already had like 20 to begin with. But I mean, I'm not saying they shouldn't. They of course should come with a power cable. It's just a bit of a waste in my case. What the heck? Well, I guess I turned on the light, but hey, I guess that's not even a bad thing. I didn't know I could do that. Good to know for my dank, dark videoing setup. Anyways, let's remove some of the, get this power supply out of the wrapping. And there we go. Let's just throw that on the floor like everything else. And there we are. That is beautiful. Fan seems to be quite fluid. Not a lot of resistance. Appears to be a nice fan. Definitely should go and grab a fork and do that. Definitely a good idea. Let's undo this here bundle of cables. It'll never be this neat ever again. I don't know why. It's what you get with non-modular power supplies. They always come all nicely and neatly bundled, and then the second that you do anything with it, the rest of the cables you don't need, you try and wrap them up all nice like that and stick them somewhere, and it just never ends up working out. Don't know why. Anyways, we have everything except for the, what are these? Probably the Molex or something, or some sort of like SATA. Okay, yeah, these are the SATA. So it looks like everything except for the Molex and SATA are these nice round sleeved mesh things. Don't know what they're called, which is nice. I always was a fan of that when it came to power supplies. I'm not a fan of this kind of thing, the like thin cables. I've always preferred the round cables for various reasons. Come on, just gotta untangle this here mess so we can go through each one of them. Come on. Come on. Come on. Ah, there we go. Ah, there we go. Okay. We have them almost freed completely. It's these daisy chains there, kind of gripping onto the cables. So let's start off with just going through the cable connections in case you might be interested in seeing such a thing. We have ourselves our 20+4 main ATX power. These are always nice to have, the ones that can break up into two. Mind you, if you're using a motherboard with a 20-pin connector, if you have a computer that uses this and it's 750 watts and actually needs a 750 watt power supply, you have an interesting computer, I think. Because I can't think of, when I think of a 20-pin motherboard connector, I'm thinking of a computer that uses no more than 220 watts on a bad day. But whatever. You have your CPU, EPS, 4-pin and 4-pin combined into 8. I mean, you can like put them together into an 8. That makes sense. As someone who doesn't usually have the newest motherboard, plenty of them still use the 4-pin, and plenty of them still use the 8-pin. Some of them are even really extreme and use both a 4-pin and an 8-pin. So they require 2 of these EPS cables. That can sometimes throw one for a loop, I guess. And here is the piece de résistance, I think. The PCI Express power. We have one daisy chained into 2 plugs. And then we have the exact same thing over here. So this thing on the box, it said it can deliver up to 750 watts on the 12 volt rail. So yeah, plenty of power available. Yeah. You can daisy chain these, but well, you can for like, I don't know, 1080 or whatever, 1080 Ti, those kind of things. I plan to put a 1080 in this computer. I have one that I've been looking at. Plan to get it locally. One could use a daisy chain probably, but I don't know. I've always preferred to have separate cables. But yeah, I guess it's just slightly less risky or something. It's probably fine to use one. It's cleaner that way because then you can just plug one and then the other in, and it's nice and clean instead of having both of these plug in like this, and then you have these two daisy chain things hanging off. But I don't know. I don't think it's really worth the risk. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal, especially since it's a non-modular power supply. You're not exactly going for the cleanest, nicest looking cables. When you're going for a non-modular power supply, you're going for ruthless efficiency in terms of your dollar per watt. Yeah, you're not going for necessarily the cleanest, nicest looking cable management job. Anyways, and then we have, I think all three of these are the same. We have three SATA power daisy chained, and then we have another three SATA daisy chained. We have a third SATA daisy chained, and then we have a Molex daisy chained 3 times, ending with a floppy connector, which is quite standard. So yeah, the Molex ending in the floppy I'm not even going to use for obvious reasons. This motherboard can only hold 3 SATA devices, as you might be able to tell. So I'm going to bundle up 2 of these and only use one because, well, why not? And daisy chaining SATA things is just fine. I wouldn't daisy chain a graphics card with PCIe power, personally. But yeah, you can daisy chain hard drives all day. It's just fine. Especially if you're using SSDs. They don't really require much power delivery. Yeah, those are our cables if you're interested. As for the unit itself, I guess we'll finish up by just looking at the power delivery. And we have, let's see, AC input. So it looks like it's an automatically switching one, which makes sense because it doesn't have a switch on the front or on the back. I think this is the Eco switch. Interesting. Oh wait, oh my god, I'm an idiot. It's just the power switch. I don't know why I thought that was an Eco switch. Like, this thing is not going to have an Eco switch. It's just the power supply's power switch. Adoy. Anyways, doesn't have a switch, so it's automatically switching, which is always nice to have. Yeah, so max output combined for the 3.3 volt and the 5 volt is 120 watts. And for the 12 volt, it's all 750 watts. So you could put every single watt that this thing is capable of producing, hypothetically, into the 12 volt rail, which is nice. It's always nice to have that. Sometimes you'll find power supplies are like 1200 watts, and when you actually look at the details of this thing, you find out that only 600 of those watts are going into the 12 volt rail. I'm just making it up. It's probably not that, but maybe like only 1000 watts are going into the 12 volt rail, which means that if you're speccing a system that requires absolutely nothing in any of the other ones other than the 12 volt, if you're only using the motherboard, EPS, and SATA, not SATA, PCI Express power, You might find that your 1200 watt power supply isn't actually 1200 watts. But anyways, yeah, oh, it says right here, switching power supply. Brilliant. Yeah, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Yeah, so that was just a little addendum. Oh, cute. These ones use security torques. They don't want you inside, which, mind you, I wouldn't want to go inside because, yeah, it's a power supply. You don't have to use scary looking screws to keep me out of here. I'm not going in here anyways. I'd rather not die due to electric shock. So I'll keep you all nice and closed up, my precious. Oh, we have a little bit of dust falling in there. This power supply's first specks of dust. Oh, cute. Actually, I mean, it was opened once, so that might be someone else's dust. Someone else's skin flakes. Who knows? I'm a flaky person, so some of it might be mine. Anyways, I wonder if you could see that. Just a little bit of dust on the inside. But I don't know, it's not focusing. Anyways, yeah. All that's left to do now for this build here is to get its graphics card. And then it will be ready to go. Ready for gaming. Anyways, thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye. Oh, and one last thing. I decided, just because why not, I plugged in the main power cable into a power supply tester that I have. And plugged it in and turned it on, and that is a spinning fan. So I'm just going to assume that it works. It's very quiet. It's not as quiet though as this one. This fan in this thing, I don't know who makes it, but kudos to you, I guess. This thing's fan is so quiet that I wasn't even sure it was on. If I didn't look at it, I would have no idea it's even on. Or it's working, because it's just so quiet. Anyways, especially considering how old this power supply is. But yeah, this thing's fan is still very quiet, and when it's in like a power supply basement and whatnot, like in this here computer case, you're not going to be able to hear it. So it's quiet enough. Yeah, beautiful. Oh, and one last thing. I decided, just because why not, I plugged in the main power cable into a power supply tester that I have. And plugged it in and turned it on, and that is a spinning fan. So I'm just going to assume that it works. It's very quiet. It's not as quiet though as this one. This fan in this thing, I don't know who makes it, but kudos to you, I guess. This thing's fan is so quiet that I wasn't even sure it was on. If I didn't look at it, I would have no idea it's even on. Or it's working, because it's just so quiet. Anyways, especially considering how old this power supply is. But yeah, this thing's fan is still very quiet, and when it's in like a power supply basement and whatnot, like in this here computer case, you're not going to be able to hear it. So it's quiet enough. Yeah, beautiful.